Beijing has lured thousands of job seekers hoping to find opportunities and luck in the Chinese capital. But behind the shiny surface and the success stories are the numerous struggling startups and low-income groups. China View investigates.
23-year-old He Dianyong is a computer technician from North Hebei province. He left his home to move to the bright lights of Beijing when he was just 18. For the past 5 years, he's worked in the city's technology hub, Zhongguancun Science Park, where he earns a living repairing computers. He lives with his colleagues in a village called Moon River on the outskirts of the capital. Although the room is less than 20 square meters, it's crammed with 6 beds, 1 bathroom and no kitchen.
3个人对，因为我们3个行业都一样，就是一个接活，2个修的那个维修的，差不多。
那现在咱们就是房租的话，就是摊到你个人头上，一个月包括房租，包括你的水费、电费这些都加在一块，你一个月在那个住房这块大概支出能是多少钱？
就是平分之后吗？500多吧，600块钱吧，将近。
His 500 yuan rent takes up almost 20% of He Dianyong's total income. The idea that he might move into his own place on his income is ludicrous.
The rent usually comes to more than 1,000 yuan, and that's not including other fees like water and electricity. For example, if you earn 4,000 or 5,000 yuan a month in Beijing, and only the rent would cost 1,500, could you be able to afford it? And I don't think so. As a result, many people choose to return home.
He may not be living in the lap of luxury, but He insists that his living conditions have improved a lot compared to when he first arrived in Beijing.
The room I rented before was much smaller than this one. We had 6 people living in it, and each one of us would pay 200 yuan a month.
For most tenants, the cost is the most important factor when looking for a place to stay. But sometimes this means living on the outskirts of the city.
It's definitely inconvenient, 4 people in one room, and their work hours are often different. I usually get up at 8 in the morning, but some people get up at 6 and do their hair. It's hard to sleep. I decided to move out after 1 year.
But the biggest problem is the potential safety risks it poses. Just 1 month ago, He managed to escape a fire that was caused by an explosion of his autobike's battery.
If it had happened in my old room, the whole building would caught fire. Here the walls are made of stone, but my old one was not. So I was quite lucky that the battery didn't explode in my old flat.
Safety loopholes tend to come hand in hand with these types of group rentals. Many of these cheap rental houses have been built illegally and without any fire prevention measures. In another village in Beijing, Kang Jia-tsun, Miss Du and Miss Yang live in a 3-story building. To exit the building, there is just 1 narrow aisle. There are 8 rooms on each floor, and Du and Yang's room is less than 10 square meters. The room is bare, except for a bed and a cabinet. It doesn't even have a window.
You can't take a bath here. There's no washing machine, no hot water. The room provides nothing but a place for me to sleep in.
The group chose to live here because it's near to their workplace, and rent for each of them is just 300 yuan each month. The rooms may be death traps, but the low prices continue to lure tenants. According to the Beijing Bureau of Statistics, Beijing's permanent population reached over 20 million by the end of 2012, marking a slower year-on-year growth of 2.5% compared to the year before. Among this population, around 7.7 million are non-native residents who have been living in the city for more than 6 months. The influx of migrants has added pressure to the city's housing availability. Zhang Shu is an analyst at HomeLink, one of Beijing's largest property agencies. He said the current housing issue is mainly down to an imbalance in supply and demand.
Low-rent houses in short supply compared with the large demand, but I don't think there are any effective ways to solving these problems and increasing the supply. The government needs to build more low-cost housing to accommodate the large influx of low-income groups.
Some people are now attempting to find their own ways to solve the housing dilemma. Huang Rexin, the brains behind China's capsule apartments, has designed a new type of house based on the traditional buildings in South Fujian province, which are called tu-lo, or earth dwellings. The rectangular or circle buildings, once used for self-defense during wars, consists of an enclosure wall with living quarters around the peripheral and a common courtyard at the centre.
In the building, people don't live on the first and second floors, which are where artillery are stored to guard against robbers. People usually lived on the third or fourth floors, and there will be more than 1,000 people living in one building. It's a great invention. I think we could definitely use some tu-lo here.
Based on his blueprint, Huang's tu-lo is similar to the original tu-lo houses in Fujian province. His idea is to house temporary residents in the city. Each suite is 26 square meters and includes a kitchen, bathroom and a 24-hour supply of hot water. Each suite can be separated into 3 rooms, which could suit young couples. However, Huang admits that his designs are a long way off being used for real. For the time being, for He Dianyong and numerous other hopeful job seekers, Beijing remains the city of opportunity. The living conditions are just something they have to endure through what they hope will be the path to a bright and successful future.